Today's show is brought to you by Health Diagnostic Laboratory, Inc.
Welcome back. Now, for the last few months, we've been telling you about the Health Diagnostic Lab's detailed blood test that can tell you all sorts of things about your health and the future of your health. And some of us here have had the test done, and Dr. Dall joins us now to interpret some of those results. Hi, Tara.
Hello.
Now, I was very interested in getting my test done because I was having some health issues. I was tired all the time. Really high blood pressure, stuff of that nature. I told you about some thyroid issues I was having. So what did my test reveal?
Well, a number of things kind of came out here, and usually when you just look at it, even if you don't know what all the numbers mean, you can kind of see that there's a few reds that popped out on your panel.
Bad.
Right, red is bad, green is good. So what's interesting is that the initial part of the panel, which just looks at cholesterol and our heart risk, and I know you have some family history of heart disease, that actually looks pretty good. You know, that was in the green, very slight yellow range. So had you gone to your doctor, they would have just given you that part of the information. They would have said, yeah, everything looks fine.
Didn't they send you home and say it's just stress?
Right, and really, I mean, an LDL cholesterol of 109 is really not something anybody would really think anything about. But when we look at the more advanced tests, we see that there are those much more advanced particles that give us a much better window into heart disease. The LDL particles and the ApoB, as you can see, you're in the red zone for both of those,
for
right?
both, which means high risk.
Right.
So what does this mean for me?
So we always want to understand what is it that's driving those high-risk particles. So it could be genetics, it could be something related to diet, it could be thyroid, it could be something else going on. So that the rest of our panel really helps us understand what's behind this, you know, what's behind this risk. So as we kind of page through it, we see, well, there's a little bit of inflammation, not too bad, not in the red zone, but you know, something may be creating a little bit of inflammation in the body. Maybe you may be eating something that's creating more inflammation.
Chili cheese dogs.
Well, sometimes processed meats, like processed red meat can be a problem. Red meat that's, you know, the grass-fed stuff is pretty good, but when you get a lot of processed meat, that can cause inflammation. Also, artificial sweeteners and things can drive inflammation as well.
Well, I do drink a lot of Diet Pepsi.
Yep, so well, that might be part of it.
There you go.
So maybe switching to water might be a good idea.
But it's just not as good though. Okay.
When we look at the genetic information, actually your numbers are pretty good here, so that's reassuring. And one of the things that we look at is these myocardial stress markers to see, is your heart being stressed? Is it being taxed? You know, is it having to work harder to meet the demands of your body? I was concerned that was going to be abnormal when you told me you had high blood pressure issues, because sometimes that'll cause this chronic stress on the heart. And in your case, those numbers actually came back pretty good. So that's reassuring. That's really reassuring.
But there's some yellow on this page. Is that anything I need to worry about?
Just a minor abnormality with this MTHFR gene. That is a gene that has some risk for blood clotting, but you're really not in a zone that really we have significant concern about. Right.
Okay,
it affects the way our body metabolizes B12 and folate, things like that. So just minor stuff. Now your thyroid test came back not so good, so I think that's going to require some follow-up with the doctor.
Got that. And I am being treated for, it was hyperthyroidism. Now I'm being told I'm sort of in the hypo range because of my medication, so I'm trying to figure that all out. But the test does show a big old red right there.
Right.
So,
and the other thing is, you're talking about fatigue and issues like that you've been having. Your vitamin D is definitely low.
So what can I do for that? Just take supplements?
I would take just an over-the-counter vitamin D. And generally when it's in that range, I would say 5,000.
Okay.
Gel cap, vitamin D3. Get one that looks like a little mini fish oil, not a tablet, because the stuff that has calcium and magnesium in it wouldn't be well absorbed.
Got it.
So a little bit, 5,000 vitamin D I think is going to help a lot with fatigue.
Very good, because I really was tired all the time.
Yeah, and I think that plus the thyroid issue will definitely
contribute.
Me up. Yeah, and then if we kind of look through here, it looks like on this page that looks for our diabetes risk.
Uh-oh, what page is that?
That is page 6.
Oh, geez.
You can see some red on there.
Oh, yeah, there's a couple of them.
Yep. So this means this is our window into diabetes here, and this is a really, really early window. So hopefully by recognizing there's maybe some genetic risk for diabetes, you can do something now to try to really minimize sugars, carbohydrates, things like that that may further drive risk for diabetes.
And I know you and I, we actually did a segment a couple weeks ago on African Americans and their diabetes risk, so it's something I clearly need to
it's clearly something to pay attention of. And you don't want to wait until it's there.
Right.
You don't want to wait until now you have prediabetes or now you have something that has other complications.
So this is basically telling me I am at risk, and if I don't do anything to change my diet, eventually there's a strong possibility it could lead to problems.
Absolutely. I mean, and you're young, you've got youth going for you right now, but you really don't want to wait because this is something that will continue to progress if you don't.
And is this something you would see if you go to the doctor and have a regular blood test?
No, and actually, interestingly, on the diabetes panel, your hemoglobin A1C was 5.1, and normal is really anything below 5.7, so your numbers are picture perfect from what a doctor would normally measure. But the things that we look at here, the insulin, the proinsulin, C-peptides, were very abnormal in the red zone. So this is a window that you just wouldn't get from a traditional test.
Oh, this is such great information. Anything else I need to be worried about? I was always like, there's so much red.
Well, it's not too bad. It could be much worse. The only other thing I'd say is the omega-3 index, which measures how much omega-3 you're getting into the red blood cells, is a measure of how much you're either taking in omega-3 supplements or how much fatty fish you might eat. And your number is actually pretty good. It should be over 8%, and yours is 7.2. So I'm guessing you take like omega-3 supplements, or you just eat a lot of salmon.
I don't, but I do like
sushi
salmon.
or something.
I love sushi.
Your sushi is really making a difference here. Absolutely. Because I don't see a lot of numbers close to 8%. Almost everybody is low on that. So keep doing what you're doing with the salmon and the sushi.
But don't you have to be careful, though, because aren't there mercury concerns in some fish?
I mean, depending on how much you're eating. I mean, if you're eating sushi every single night and a lot of it, maybe that would be something to think about. But generally, you're not going to consume too much.
Now, if I want to start taking a look at some of these things, and I'm seeing those insulin issues and that red, what can I do? The question I want to ask is, if I do make some changes, how soon will I see changes on the test?
Usually within 3 to 4 months, if you're making lifestyle changes, you may begin to see some shifts there. The thyroid issue is kind of another thing that requires just, medication management and everything like that. But when it comes to insulin resistance, exercise, staying away from sugar, carbohydrates, maybe eliminating the fake sugars and the artificial sweeteners might make a difference too. So
y'all need to understand, I basically live off a Diet Pepsi and rock candy. So
see, this will be an easy switch though. That means just get rid of all that and the numbers will turn.
Which it's common sense stuff that will make such a huge impact on my future health. And without these tests, how would I know?
Right.
And
you kind of are in denial usually when you don't know that this is happening. It's like, I look good, I feel good, I'm not going to worry about it.
At it.
Even now.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to have more information a little bit later on, and you can talk with your doctor if you're interested in getting the HDL test. We'll have Dr. Dall here with her colleagues back on each Tuesday to help you learn more about this test and how you can help your family. It's obviously helping me. I've got to give up Diet Pepsi. We'll see how that goes. I'll report back. All right, you can get more information about the Health Diagnostic Laboratory by going to their website, hdlabinc.com. You can also call them at 1-877-4HD-LABS. All right, we've got more Table Talk next. Come on back.